Hello there and welcome to the official VConnect tutorial. Before we get started with the tutorial, let me show you what this program can do. This was from the official VConnect trailer. And all the triggers you just saw and more, I will export from my own program and put it in the Discord so anyone can use them as well. So for those of you who don't know, VConnect is a streamer overlay. It's a little bit similar to Twitch integrated throwing system, also known as TITS if you're familiar with that one. However, there's a lot more things you can do in VConnect because it is node-based instead of having fixed menus. If that scares you, don't worry, I got you. One last little thing before we start, should you prefer this in a written down version with step-by-step instructions, or if you need any more information, there is a quick start guide. It has some more in-depth info that you should check out if you have any questions. And there is also the official Discord server where you can ask questions to the support team directly. And I put both of those links in the description, so please check that out. Since this program is early access, some small limitations do apply, but they're mostly for Linux users. They are visible on the screen right now, and I know for a fact that the developer is currently working on fixing them. To get started, let me show you guys the most important menus first. So you click in the top left here and it opens this sidebar. So right now, as you can see, we are in the overlay editor. However, there's also a node manager, an asset manager, a settings menu, and of course a quit button. However, I'm not going to show you that because I do want to teach you how to use this program. There's also another really handy button that I'd like you guys to know about. It's called F3 on your keyboard, and if you press it you can hide the overlay, which can be really useful. To turn it back on, you can just click this little camera. And if for whatever reason you can't use your keyboard, you can also do this with the side menu. So you press here and you click this little camera icon and it's gone. Okay, let's get to the setup first. The recommended setup is that you use VTube Studio or VCface with Spout 2. For those of you who have been using VTube Studio as a source in your OBS, what VConnect basically does is replace that. So to put it in simple terms, and I will also demo this in a second, but you will basically connect your VTube Studio or VCface to VConnect via Spout 2, and then you will create a Spout 2 source in OBS, and that source will be VConnect. I'm gonna demo this with VTube Studio because that's what I use, but VCface should also have a Spout 2 setting somewhere. Okay, we're in VTube Studio now, so you click on the little settings wheel and we go over to the camera up here on top and just scroll down until we see the menu that says Activate Spout 2. So we just toggle that on. And one last little thing about Spout 2. If you're unsure whether you already have it installed or not, you can hit this button that says Install Spout 2 and it will give you some info on it. And also if you click on more info, it will open a website where you can actually download it for your OBS. Small tip, I recommended that you use this following background. We scroll to the very bottom, it's called Color Picker. You select it and I always use black with transparent and capture. That one tends to have the best results, but of course you can play around in your own system and see how it looks. Okay, I'm back in VConnect now. Let's connect it. Let's go into our settings menu. So in here, you will see a little bit of an overview of all the platforms it currently works with. Right now, we want to connect to VTube Studio, so I click on the VTube Studio window, and then I click Connect. And this should give me a little prompt in my VTube Studio, so let's switch over. And then, as always, you need to allow it, and then this little warning window will pop up. Don't worry, it's nothing bad. It just informs you that VConnect has the ability to load custom images into your VTube Studio. So here we click Allow, and now our VTube Studio and our VConnect are connected. So if you did this correctly, this is what your screen will look like. That's right, your model isn't here yet. So we need to go to settings again. And here in the settings, we click on Spout 2 and make sure that both the receiver and the sender are both toggled on. And now, ta-da! My model's visible. Okay, you should be able to see my OBS now. I know it looks a bit gnarly, but I gotta show you how to set it up here, okay? So in our OBS, we go into the Sources tab and we click the little plus button and we make a Spout 2 capture source. I will name it VConnect. And then for the Spout sender, we want VConnect Spout. And for the composite mode, we want pre-multiplied alpha. And as we can see, the avatar is now showing up. Yay! Cool. Next up, let's do a little tour through the settings. First, let's look at all the platforms that VConnect currently supports. I already mentioned it earlier, but of course Twitch and YouTube are supported, and OBS and VTube Studio. I would say those are the big ones, but as you can see, there's a couple more that you can utilize here. So for my VTube Studio users, I already showed you guys the Spout 2 menu, but for Linux, there is NDI and VCFace as OSC, which you can also find in the settings menu. So this will help you set it up on your Linux system or with your VCFace. There is also some general settings, like for example, where you want to save it, some graphic settings, some audio settings. I think these should be pretty straightforward. I don't really need to explain those. And you can make multiple profiles if you wish to do so. And up here on profile, you can switch between them. Okay, next let's do a tour of the overlay editor. The overlay editor is essentially where you can see your model, but it's not just a screen. There is some stuff you can do here. This screen aligns the overlay with the avatar. Honestly, if your VTube Studio is already full screen in OBS, there is not a whole lot that you have to do here. I think for most users, this will just work. But just in case it doesn't, and also for future reference, I want to show you what this screen can do. Okay, so first, let me show you guys the outline. As you can see in the bottom here, it says outline, and you can toggle it on by clicking on it. And here you can see the outline of my model. This is automatically transmitted by VTube Studio, and it basically is the hitbox of my model. Now, if you're a face cammer or perhaps a PNG tuber that does not have that outline, you can also set it up yourself, which I will show you in a second how to do that. But essentially, when you look at this outline, you can see what your entire hitbox is. Okay, let me show you guys what scenes do. Okay, so you will click on this little button here, and it will open up a scene menu. As you can see, this is our default scene, but you can add one more. You can rename them, and you can move your model around XYZ. And these are also linkable with OBS. So if you wanted to, you could link a specific scene in OBS for a redeem. Next up, we have targets. Here, what you can do is basically set up where something will target you. So the head, as it shows here, that's where it is. For chest, it recognizes this area. This is where it would go for feet, and this is where it would miss you. What this does, basically when you're setting up that something is thrown at you or interacts with you, it will hit you somewhere on your model. So you can use these parameters to make sure it hits you in the right place. For example, here, I'm seeing the feet are not entirely accurate. So I'm gonna click a bit lower, and now when I enable it to hit my feet, it's gonna hit down here instead of up there. Of course, you can also add your own. So you could add your hand, or, well, in my case, it went straight to my crotch for some reason. And with right click, you can obviously remove things. One final thing I'd like to mention about targets is that they don't only function as a literal target to throw items at, but you could theoretically also pin things to your model in those designated locations. There is also the settings for lock X and lock Y. This just makes sure that the target does not move with the hitbox. This is especially useful if you have a lot of redeems where your hitbox could be distorted, like for example your model changing shape or something like a wagging tail. Lastly, let's check out the model configuration. And honestly, if you're using VTube Studio, you don't need to change anything here. However, if you wanted to, you could use this menu to adjust your outline, and thus also where things will hit you. So I could move it, for example, to the left or to the right, and then change all the different parameters like that. There is also a nifty little button up here that says VTS outline. You can change it to human, so it will roughly outline a human behind me, or a cube, or a sphere. So the model configuration feature is mainly useful if you want to tweak your hitbox a little bit, or for example for face cammers and PNG tubers who want to create their own outline. In that case, I recommend you actually select the human one and just adjust it to your PNG tuber or your face cam. Okay, next up, I'm gonna show you guys the asset manager. So we go back here and we click on the asset manager menu. So here you can import various things from 3D objects to PNG files to GIFs to different sound effects. So there is this menu up top here. I would say it's pretty self-explanatory. I'll show you guys quickly how to make new folders. You press new folder here, you can rename it, I'll call it test, and then you literally just drag and drop stuff in here. So this way you can organize your program pretty well, and if you want to go back, you just press this little arrow up here. So now how do you import new things? You right click and press import. And then you can select whatever you want to import. I have a little GIF here, and it worked. Easy peasy. I can click on it. Oh, I can, for example, change the speed since this is a GIF. Let's change it to 4. Yeah, that's pretty good. Let's change it to 7. You can also actually color change it. This works with nearly all the assets. I think that is pretty cool. And for the power users, there's even an advanced graph setup here. For 3D items, you can also change the scale, the offset, the rotation of your specific items. And if there's multiple colors, you can even adjust both of them individually. So I can make this part blue and this part white. And it would look like this. So pretty cool. One last little thing about the asset manager that I really like is that you can just copy paste assets and have them available in different colors if you want to do so. For example, to copy this watermelon, we press Ctrl C on our keyboard and then we press Ctrl V and there it is. And now I can just completely change the colors of this one and I have 2 of the same asset in different colors. It's really cool. For anyone who's using Twitch, I made sure to first connect my Twitch in here. But once you've done that, there's a really cool thing you can do. You right click and you can import all of your channel emotes. I will click all providers, so it will just import all the emotes from my Twitch channel, BTTV, FFZ, and 7TV. And this might take you a second. Okay, we're all finished. Let me just quickly demonstrate how this works. Look, all of my Twitch emotes made it in. Yes, the animated ones are all here, all animated. It's very cool. And now you can use these as stickers on your screen or throw redeems or whatever else you have in mind. Another pretty cool thing you can do in the asset manager is to export your items if you want to share them with your friends. To do this, you just select the thing that you want to export, then you right click and you hit the export button. And then you can give it a custom name and save it in your files. And now you can share it with your friends. And let's pretend I'm the friend who's getting this file. So let's delete this first and I'll show you how to import. Very easy. You just right click and press import. And then you find the file. Here it is, export.vasset. And you just press open and here it is. Very easy. Next up, I will show you the node manager. And this is where the magic really happens. So we click up here again and there it is, node manager. As you can see on the side, I already created a bunch of different redeems, but I of course will show you step by step on how to do it. So on the bottom here, there is a toggle where you can toggle on advanced mode, which is what I use, but this is more for power users who are actually interacting with the graphs. I just pulled this up as a visual example, but as you can see, this all works with nodes. The basic idea here is that every one of your triggers will create an event node, and the event node will connect to action nodes. This all looks very complicated, but I promise you with the setup wizard, it is pretty easy to get a grasp on it. And one thing I also want to mention is that, as you can see, the green arrows are the main connectors between the nodes and they always run from left to right. There is also node groups if you want to reuse any part of this. However, that is definitely more for power users that are familiar with node systems. But if you really just want to make simple redeems, let me show you how to do it. So I'll go to the bottom right here and click add. So you could do a blank trigger, which is for people who know how to work node systems. You could use the setup wizard, which is what I will be doing in a second, or you could import a trigger, which is awesome because I'm sure people will be making a lot of amazing triggers for this program that I look forward to seeing. But first, let's use the setup wizard. So I think I want to make a redeem right now that works with Twitch. So I will select Twitch here and there is a lot of options, but I think I just want it on a channel point redeem. Very simple. Let's make a throw redeem, since that is a little bit reminiscent of TITS. So I will name it throw. So as I want to throw an item, this is what I'm going to select. But as you can see, there are so many things here that you can do, like let it rain, shoot fluid on your model, change your colors, etc. There is really a ton of options here. So first we need to select an asset. And of course I want to do the one I imported earlier. And just so you know, it's not enough to just click on it and press done. You got to click on it and drag it over here with the arrow. That way it is really in the selection. So now we click done and it is selected. For sounds, I honestly haven't imported a ton of them yet, but I think I don't want the punch that comes by default. So I will remove it and instead let's add a volleyball noise. So I click here and then we go on the arrow again to add it. So now the volleyball noise is the default one. I think I want to keep the scale as is right now. I can always make it smaller later on. As you can see, there's also a bunch of other options here that you can just open up. I do want it to collide with my model. As for the despawn, I think 4 seconds is fine. I think I like this. Oh, nice little feature, enable name tag. So basically, if you enable this, then the person that redeemed it will be featured as a name tag above the item that gets thrown. So that's actually kind of neat, but I don't think I need that for this demonstration. So let's click next. I don't really want a delay or cooldown right now. Repeats is the amount of items that is being thrown at you. So for example, if I want 5 of them thrown at me, I'll put it to 5. Okay, done. So here you go. We just created this really complicated looking node system in a couple clicks. Pretty awesome, right? So right now this is named Setup Wizard. Let's quickly rename it to Test, just so I later on know what it is. So now you're probably wondering, how do we see if this works? Easy, we test it. So I right click here and click on the test button. And when I do that, I also press F3 on my keyboard to show the model screen. Test. Ah! Did you catch that? Test it again. Yay! And because I love this redeem so much, I want to export it now. So let me click on the redeem and press right click and export. Now it will be called test.vtrigger and I will save it like that. Now I can, for example, share it in Discord with a friend and they can import it into their own system by pressing add and then import trigger. And fun fact, this will even import the asset itself. So they wouldn't even have to find this asset anywhere. They will just get it together with the import, which is what makes this sharing system so neat. And while we are already on the topic of exporting things, I just want to mention this as well. For those of you guys who have been using Twitch integrated throwing system, you can actually just export everything from TITS into VConnect. So let me quickly show you how. So first we go over to TITS. This is our classic TITS interface. And we click on the little settings wheel. And right here you can see export for VConnect. So we just click that. And now it opened this little window on my computer. And here it says TITS export. I will keep this window open on my second screen while I swap over to VConnect. So make sure to keep it open somewhere. You go over to your asset manager and you click import. So for me, this coincidentally already is opening the right file, but if it wasn't, you could just copy the file path of the window that you still have open and put it in here to end up in the same folder, and then you can just select the TITS export and open it. And this will take a second. And there it is, TITS export. So if we click on this, what we see is all the items that I already had in TITS, and not only the items I imported. So if we go over to Node Manager right now, all my redeems got imported as well. And one important thing is that this creates a new profile that is called TITS import, just so you're aware that you can always switch between the profiles. I also have to mention that this functionality of importing it is pretty new and is still being worked on. One little thing about the TITS exports, the bonk type redeems are unfortunately not supported yet, but the dev is working on implementing that as well. So if something doesn't work out, feel free to reach out in the Discord and I hope the support can help you out. Little side note, but if you would like to check what other people have made and you would like to share your own creations, you can do so in the official Discord that I have linked below. If you go into settings and info, you can also just find the Discord right here. And there's also the quick start guide I mentioned earlier that goes more into depth with some of these things. And I'm very happy to let you guys know that the developer is indeed working on Steam Workshop support, which should hopefully be implemented very soon. And then you guys can also share stuff through the Steam Workshop. So that was all our menus. I hope you roughly understand how to use the program now. In general, I always recommend try the setup wizard first, and then you can adjust things within the setup wizard. Honestly, I'm not even a power user myself, but I found it pretty easy to understand the notes after looking at them in a little bit more detail. So, however, I can totally understand if it's a little bit overwhelming at first. This is why there is a Discord server that you guys can join. It is linked in my description. It is the official Twitch integrated throwing system server. Since it's the same developer, he's also going to support VConnect in the same server. If you have any questions, there is the channel called Testing Discussions. If you want to share some triggers, I actually really recommend going on that Discord because then you can find cool new triggers and share yours with other people as well. It is called Trigger Sharing. And if you have any cool feature requests, you can put them in program suggestions. You can also ask me questions in the comment section of this YouTube video. However, I'm not the developer, and I will not have as much time as the developer to answer support-specific questions and requests. So if you really want a quick answer, I really recommend joining the Discord. The people there are super nice and super helpful. I really hope this helped you understand VConnect better, and thank you so much for watching!